Some of you in the room right now, you are where you are, you're giving 60% when you have 120 in you. Why? Because you never made a decision. There's those of you in this room, you already there. Your problem is it's some stuff you don't want to give up to go. Listen to me, pound for pound, any agent in the room, pound for pound, motivational speaker, pound for pound, entrepreneur, pound for pound, athlete, pound for pound, weightlifter, pound for pound, whatever you do, I guarantee you when you do it, nobody can do it like you do it. The problem is you don't hardly do it.
Welcome back to CFB Prime. I'm your host, Nino Brown. We got a special guest, my guy, Kyle, at all_Auburn. He knows everything Auburn talk, Auburn football. That's Mr. Warrior himself. How we doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I can't complain. It's been a while. We've chopped it up a few times last year, and I'm glad we can start off on the right foot. You know, this season for you.
Hopefully this one goes better than the last one.
It's so it seems. We got a little taste of it.
Yeah.
Auburn defeated UMass, the UMass Minutemen. My guys, I'm from Massachusetts, so I got to take the heat on now. I almost wore the shirt, but I figured you were going to rip me. I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I'm setting myself up to fail. But you beat the Minutemen 59-14 after kind of like a slow first quarter where you kind of let them just hang around, right? They were just hanging around, and then you guys kind of turned it on after that. What were your thoughts on the overall offensive showing of the Hugh Freeze? 490 plus yards, 7 touchdowns. I mean, they were clicking right through the beginning of the first quarter.
Yeah, no, I was happy with the offense. I mean, obviously we were losing. We lost our best player, Jarquez. He didn't play. But coming in, we had Payton Thorne, a new quarterback from Michigan State, and rocked a little bit with Ashford in the red zone. They really didn't show much. Going back and looking at the game, it was simple inside, outside zones for running game, and then passing game was mainly just RPOs. With either a bubble screen or a hitch or a go route option. Honestly, they probably ran the same 4 or 5 plays the entire first half. Yeah. So, going back and looking at that, I wasn't too worried with some of the numbers because, offensive line looked way better. We ran the ball at will. Mm-hmm. We made a few good throws here and there. Payton Thorne looked, for the most part, pretty under control and understanding of the offense. Missed a couple throws, but, that's how it goes. And then obviously in the red zone, they had a nice little package with Robbie coming in, getting inside the 20 and letting him kind of they really just ran the same play, just a little zone read, mm-hmm. and just ran that over and over and over. And, I mean, they couldn't stop it, so why run anything else, just don't show your red zone, Freeze is really known for his red zone plays. That's what he said coming into Auburn. So just, run that same play and don't show anything on tape and go to the next week 59 points up. So
yeah, it was vanilla like Ben and Jerry's. I mean,
yeah,
they gave
it was
the easiest, offensive scheme to go with, whether it's because Thorne's still adjusting to the scheme or because it was UMass and you don't want to kind of expose everything, play your cards all up front week 1.
Right.
We're going to talk about the QBs, all right? The former spot in Payton Thorne, he was QB1, for the Tigers going 10 for 17. 141 yards and a touchdown. Robbie Ashford came in. He only had 6 pass attempts, right? But he was dominant on the ground. 3 TDs, 51 yards on 9 attempts. Whose performance were you more impressed with or nervous with? I mean, as you said, Thorne missed a couple throws, but it was very vanilla. I did not expect Ashford to have as much involvement in the game or as much success as he did. We know he's mobile. He kind of just dominated on the ground. Did what he wanted.
Yeah. Both QBs obviously look good. They both had their own role in the offense. I really like obviously what Robbie did. It was perfect with what he did. I still don't feel that great with him running the entire offense. I don't think his accuracy is quite good enough in this, the short and medium passing game to be able to run that entire offense from 20-yard line to the end zone. But he looked good with what he did. And I think that shows something that we have in the back pocket the rest of the year. And I think we're going to use that, I don't want to say it's like a Tim Tebow situation, but I could see, if the offense isn't doing that great in shorter yardage situations or in the red zone and, games like against Bama or Georgia. I think getting Robbie into those situations and kind of taking a load off Payton and our running game can, be very beneficial. And then, I thought Payton, he looked well. He made a couple good throws, a couple back shoulders. He made a good throw on a 3rd and 5 on a slant to keep the chains moving. You could tell he was really comfortable in the pocket, which is a big difference. What we've seen, even dating back to every year we had Bo Nix.
Right.
He was really good at escaping. He was good at feeling the pressure. He didn't really get a happy feet. He was standing in there and delivering some throws. But like I said, it was very vanilla. There's not a whole lot to take away from it other than our offensive line beat their defensive line and our receivers were better than their DBs, So I'm going to hold off judgment for here, but
Okay.
First week you can't really complain about it. But I'm assuming even this upcoming week there's going to be a big difference in the game plan. So I'll have more of an opinion then.
All right. Well, I'll be, I'll be hitting you up and get some
Yeah,
information
for
about
sure.
it as well. Let's talk about the run game. We mentioned it a little bit. Jacquez Hunter was sidelined versus UMass for outside implications, whatever you want to talk. We'll
Yeah.
touch on it lightly later, but nothing crazy. But it seemed like Cadillac had dialed up a great ground game. It's like he had just, rolled over him last season. Over 225 rush yards between 4 runners. They averaged over 5 yards and 5.5 yards per carry. And they had 6 touchdowns. I mean, Jackson, Alston, Cobb, they all scored. Batty was kind of like the least productive. What are your expectations going forward? And is there any news on Hunter? Are we thinking 4 games? Is it going to be a self-imposed kind of thing?
So there's really not much information out about Hunter. He's practicing with the team. I saw he was out there today running plays. What I'm thinking is he plays this week, but that's not really information. That's kind of just a gut feeling because I think at this point it's past university. I think he's probably cleared from the university because if he's practicing in full go and on the sideline, I feel like the university from a Title IX perspective probably cleared him. And I think, that first game, Hugh Freeze is kind of that was his suspension, that was his penalty. He did miss a week or 2 of fall practice and all that kind of stuff. But I think that was just something he felt probably needed to happen, and hopefully he's out there this week. If not, hopefully by A&M is when we really, really need him. But for the running game, the big difference between this year and last year is going to be the offensive line. We made a bunch of new additions in the transfer portal. Probably had the top offensive line transfer portal haul. Damari Alston was one of the breakout players in fall camp and spring camp. He's coming forward as a leader for the team. Brian Batty, he was a 1,000-yard rusher last year for USF. He's one of those small, shifty, kind of hard to tackle running backs. Good change of pace back, I think. And then Jeremiah Cobb, he's highly touted freshman guy, really fast, quick, a little bit smaller. Being a freshman, he wasn't. I don't think he was an early enrollee, so his frame's a little light. But I think by next year, he could be a really good running back. Even this year, I think he'll play a good role. So
they all had success.
Yeah.
They all look good. Like you said, it was more inside, reads, and it wasn't nothing crazy, right? They weren't, countering. They weren't going crazy. They were just one play, hit the gap, and go. Now you mentioned the line, right, and the transfers that came in. Who would you grade had a better game? Did you think that Wade Dylan Wade from Tulsa had a better game, or was it Gunnar Britton, the right tackle coming over from Western Kentucky? Who would you grade higher?
I can't say I really watched the offensive line too much that game, but Gunnar Britton did win SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. I know he's played a couple different positions. Wade, he kind of held down the left tackle spot.
Right.
And, they both did really well. And I got to see our last scrimmage. And, offensive line looked really well in pass coverage.
Okay.
Or no, they looked really good in the run and not too good in pass. But, last game, obviously it's UMass, so it's kind of hard to guess. But they looked a lot better and gave Thorne, enough amount of time to make passes. So, can't really complain about the line so far. So we'll see.
I know that, Britton kept Austin Reed pretty clean and upright in Western Kentucky. So
Yeah.
I think he did a pretty good job with
he did.
both QBs in this one. So Let's go on to the next one, which, we mentioned that the wide receivers are winning their battles. For me, I was kind of surprised that sophomore wide receiver Jay Fair took the lead role Saturday against UMass. I thought that Shane Hooks, the Jackson State transfer, would be the alpha in that room. What are your thoughts on Fair? And has this, what was his production against UMass? Was that in the game plan, or was he just stepped up and was winning his battle?
Fair's kind of been a steady guy through the fall camp, and him and Hooks have been the two guys that we pretty much knew were going to be starting. But no, Fair, I mean, he got open on one seam, wide open, good pass. A couple other balls. Shane Hooks, he had, I think, 2 catches for 40 yards. I think he got missed. He got one 50-50 ball they threw up that Payton Thorne probably put a little too much juice on. And then I think Ashford missed him on another 10-yard out. So, he probably had 4 or 5, of the 14 pass attempts, or is it probably like 30 pass attempts or so. He had good, not great production, but he had good looks. And, I think that'll come as the season goes. And I think he'll be more of a red zone threat. And, since we ran the ball, red zone reads and all through the red zone, we didn't really get that chance. Same with Rivaldo Fairweather, our tight end. Those guys are going to be used a lot on third down situations and red zone. And, we didn't really have a chance to use them on this game for that. So
agreed. He, my guy, the tight end there, Ronaldo, he was in line blocking. Or they were just blowing him up on the run game. So I knew once the score got high, I'm like, all right, this guy's just going to be chilling. He's going to be like an extra lineman for this game. But he's a guy that I liked, and I said this year is probably going to have a breakout season, and I think he's going to, as the time goes on, and you said you get to those third down or short yardage games, I think he's going to be a little bit of a safety blanket for Thorne going down the stretch. All right, let's talk defense for a quick second before we get into next week. Senior DB Jalen Smith was the X factor for me, I think, on the defensive side for Auburn, as well as Eugene Asante in the linebacker room. How do you feel defense was as a whole, and what would you give them as an overall grade?
So I left the stadium on Saturday feeling pretty good about the defense. I thought they stepped up after that first drive. And I came home yesterday and, I watched the game a little bit slower, kind of, paused and ran back plays. And then I walked away just pretty disheartened after that. I mean, Hugh Freeze, what kind of piqued my interest is Hugh Freeze came out and said there was 15 plays where the defense lined up incorrectly. So I kind of went back and not even just, it's kind of hard for me to tell if they lined up incorrectly because I'm not, the DC and
you know
exactly where they're supposed to be. But, I could just tell from especially the linebackers just missing gaps, whether they're a step late, and getting beat by the offensive lineman or whoever's blocking them, or they just completely missed their assignment. I thought it was really bad. And those guys are really gonna have to step up here soon if they don't want to get ran all over by California. I thought, Austin Keys did not look very good. Cam Riley was slow. They both just seem a step slow, and they just don't seem quite as physical as what you need in the SEC. I thought Asante looked pretty good.
He was a stud for me, I thought.
Yeah, no, I think there's no way he doesn't, like, from looking back at the tape, there's no way he's not starting this next week. It just wouldn't make any sense. But man, I wasn't too happy about that. But and then we have Donovan Kaufman and Keontae Scott. I thought those guys were used very well in the defense, coming off the edge, creating some havoc.
Right.
Some quarterback pressures. Donovan Kaufman came around and got right by the tackle and had a nice little strip sack. The Ron Roberts defense is kind of a create havoc, blitz, all sort of things. Trying to just get the QB to be throwing picks.
Uncomfortable. Get him off a safety spot. Yeah.
But also a big part of it is knowing where you're supposed to be and filling your gaps. And if they don't do that, we're gonna struggle to stop the run. But first game, maybe going through the film room and seeing what everybody did wrong might get us better for the second game. So, and we were missing a couple people too. So
yeah, I feel like your edge guys did well with keeping. I will mess up his name, and I'm UMass guy, so I'm just gonna go with Foam. I call him T-Foam. Okay, yeah. I think they did pretty well with keeping him contained in the pocket. He tried to get some runs. They had some designs run for him, but you kind of just closed the holes in the gaps, and you made him kind of like he was two-stepping out there, didn't know really where to go. And then once that happened, the pressure came, and they
Yeah.
just took UMass out that game. And once the score started to climb, right around halftime, they can't be this mobile QB just running around trying to make something
Right.
happen. Once they try to throw the ball, you guys were able to eliminate that. Like I said, Simpson kind of dominated the secondary in my eyes, and
Yeah. No, he looked great.
he
Yep.
pressed coverage and everything. He looked good.
Yeah.
Freeze already called the opponent next week. Cal Golden Bears running back Jalen Hart special, right? And he just went off for 180 yards off 20 plus carries. How does the Tigers defense control the Golden Bears run game? Considering you said you were kind of leery about the run, the linebackers and stuff, other than Asante, who look good. How are they going to control this? Because is special, man. He's twitchy. He gets in and out the hole quickly, and once he gets in open space, look out.
Yeah. Just going over film and making sure that they're in the right gaps and they're physical and hitting the hole in the right times, and well, I guess we'll see. They definitely need to make some changes, and hopefully they put some of the right guys in. I think part of it will be getting some of these guys back. One of our big pass rushers, Jalen McLeod, he'll be back this week, so I think that'll take a little bit of the load off the line and maybe bring some more fresh guys in. But really, it really comes down to the linebackers. I didn't think the interior D-line played great, but I think they played well, or good enough at least. But the linebackers just need to be quicker, physical, and know where they got to be. So hopefully a week of film talk and the DC, going over the past game can help that. But if not, he's probably going to run pretty well against us. So.
Well, I think I know elite guys win no matter who they play, right? And Ox seems to be growing into an elite running back, right? We've seen 2 years of it. Well, 1 year, and now he's already starting off this year the same way. Could Kalante Scott be a dude that could be a key factor in this kind of stopping the run? Because he plays the star position, right? Kind of that slot role, a nickel back type. Could he be a guy that spies on kind of is in there to draw a little pressure for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think him and Kaufman are going to be used a lot differently than they were last year. Not just going to be, going back in coverage. They're going to be meeting the, running back in the holes and sealing the edge and getting after the quarterback. So I think this game, this past game showed exactly how we're going to be using those guys, and they're going to be the stars of the defense. Keontae Scott, Donald Kaufman, even Simpson back there are going to have chances to make plays. So it feels good having those guys and seeing how they were used this first game. So hopefully they can help stop the run a little bit.
All right, one last question before we close this one out. Cal's the next opponent. Give me one key thing you're looking for in this week that you want to see better than last week.
I mean, obviously it'd be stopping the run, but I'll give something else. I just want to see how our offense unfolds and how much we use our receivers differently and the different looks we give defenses. I thought the first game was very, very vanilla. It was more vanilla than our last scrimmage. So I really just want to see Hugh Freeze and our OC open it up a little bit and see what our receivers can do. Because I came back from our scrimmage really high on our receivers. Shane Hooks, Fairweather, Fair, even Javarius Johnson. They all looked really good, and they have really good plays wrote up for them, and they were all put in good spots, and they're not forced to do things that they're not good at as they were last year. Everyone's kind of has their own role in the offense instead of, just kind of being forced out there. So I'm excited to see our receivers and how Payton Thorne looks delivering the ball to them this week. So
do you think that we could see a little more of Nick Modner, the 6'6" giant out there wide receiver in this one?
Yeah, he was hurt the first game.
Right.
So I don't think he's quite. He might be more of like a second team guy, but it'd be interesting to see us use him. He's a big dude, big frame.
Red zone, man.
Yeah, another good red zone threat. We have some big guys out there that we can use in the red zone. Fairweather 6'5",
yeah,
6'6", Hooks is 6'4", some big bodies out there. So, who knows? You might keep doing the Robbie thing in the red zone, but if not, I'm excited to see some of our guys abuse some cornerbacks for some touchdowns. So
I'm not gonna be pulling any receipts on you, but give me a prediction on a score.
I tweeted out earlier today. I think I said 35-24.
Okay.
So I don't know. I could see it even be more high scoring than that, honestly, on both sides. But until our defense shows a little better against the run, I'm not gonna. and have us doing anything better than that. And I think when it comes down to it, we have more athletic guys than they do, and some bigger guys. I'm not expecting their home ground to be much of a difference as it was when we went to Penn State 2 years ago.
Okay.
They're a good team. They got a good running back. I think if we can stop their running game, we'll be just fine. But if not, who knows?
Well, it'll be interesting, and that's why they play the games on Saturdays, not
Yeah,
on Sundays, right?
exactly.
I'm with you, though. I think Auburn takes this one, and I think the ground game will lead to giving Thorne and Ashford time to do whatever they need to do, especially if they can eliminate, the ground game and get themselves in the early good field position, right?
Yeah.
So I'm with it. Auburn Talk
Cool.
on CFB Prime with my guy Kyle. You can find him on the Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. It's at all_Auburn. I'm Nino Brown. This is CFB Prime. Shh, blow the damn whistle.